Fury. Fury. Dude. That movie is so badass. If you haven't seen it, go check out Fury. Yeah, Fury. Mac hit it up. He did it. Dude, that movie is so good, man. So good. And in some ways I connect to those guys that clearly I didn't um, deal with a lot of the stuff that they dealt with, but the whole best job I ever had, that is my favorite line from that movie, and I know exactly how that guy felt. I know exactly how they felt. I'm literally, you guys probably can't see it, but I have chill bumps right now. I know exactly how they felt with that line, best job I ever had. And I'll tell a short story as to why, right? So, being the tankers, you know, they got a tough job. It's confined space, a lot of risk. You're a big target. Yeah, you got power, but man, it also has its weaknesses, and it's a tough job. It's a tough job, clearly. It takes a lot of resiliency, man. You got to be really strong-minded, right? So, Max probably heard me tell these stories before. Hopefully, I'm not. Anyway, I'm gonna get into it. So, in Afghanistan, 2010, I drove a truck called a Husky, and it's a truck that we use in route clearance, where we look for roadside bombs, look for IEDs, right? The Husky is, I had a mounted mine detection system, and the truck is really small. It has a cab that's, you climb in through the top, and it has basically like a little cockpit. It's like a little cockpit. It's about this wide, if you can see that, just barely bigger than me. And you drive in the front of the patrol. In order to scan on unimproved roads like dirt roads, you drive about 3 miles an hour. You have no gun system. You only have your personal weapon inside the truck. So there's not like there's a mounted gun on your truck that somebody's, operating. Nope. You're in the front. You're driving 3 miles an hour in the middle of nowhere, somewhere you've never been before, looking for bombs. And I actually, so the first mission, it was November 3rd, 2010, the first mission I ever found a bomb. Before that, we had gotten blown up like 3 times. Trial and error. Well, technically we found those, but not the right way. But the first mission I ever found a bomb, I found 3. One was a homemade explosive, 2 were anti-tank mines. And my platoon sergeant, who is sergeant, he's a sergeant first class. That's the rank, which is my rank now, actually. My platoon sergeant, after the mission, or like the next day, I think, he came up to me, and this is how I got the nickname Journey during that deployment, actually. And my platoon sergeant came up to me the next day, I think, and he was just like, "Hey, Journey, I know you probably don't want to hear this, man, but that's you. That's you." And I remember him just saying that and give me that look. He's like, "That's you. This is you," And what he was telling me was that was my job. Like he found my place or whatever. Even though we made some mistakes in the beginning, which is what you do. I mean, you got to learn from the enemy, learn how they operate, and then adjust what you do in order to. And they do the same thing. So it's a constant. When you're fighting an asymmetrical war, that's how you fight it. You got to study the enemy, right? But anyway, he told me, "That's you, man," and that was it. So I spent every moment that I say every moment, not really, but I spent a lot of time studying what I was doing, what the enemy was doing, and figuring out how to play this game of cat and mouse, and ended up finding 28 IEDs while I was deployed. And I got blown up one time. Our patrol got hit like 7 times, I think, total, which is not really bad. It's not bad. Nobody got severely injured. We had a couple guys get medevac, but it was just for like concussions and stuff. But when you do route clearance, when you do that type of job, especially nowadays, well, I say nowadays, shit, that was 10 years ago. But especially nowadays, there's so much technology in the military, and all the trucks that we drove were literally made to be blown up. So they were made to, there's of course an inherent risk you take when you drive down the road to look for bombs, but there's a lot of equipment and technology that we use to mitigate that. But and my truck was one of them. If this is an interesting story, hang in there with me, guys. We got a couple people watching. If you're getting a kick out of this, I'm going to send you to my video. Not that I would bullshit you, but this will kind of validate some of what I'm saying. And also, too, the good thing about this, oh, dude, I have 190 subscribers now on YouTube. What I'm explaining, you'll be able to see it in action, and it'll make more sense. So I'm going to go to this video and try to share it with you guys. I think I can share it from a specific point, right? You can watch the whole video for sure, but if you let's see. Get started here. So I have a video on YouTube I put up. It was probably 8 years ago. It now has 7,859 views. It's actually kind of cool. But here. Go to that. Mountain said, my dad was stationed in Germany during Cold War. He was a crewman on the Atomic Annie. Look that cannon up. Very interesting. Ooh. Atomic Annie. Oh, sweet. It's the world's first and only nuclear gun. It's able to fire a nuclear weapon at the range of 20 miles. I really need to set up so you guys can see my browser, because I could be showing you my YouTube video right now. Let me, actually, you know what? Let me see if I can add a source here, browser. I don't really know how to do this. It's not a specific URL though. So browser's not what I want to do. Let's see. I think I remember, I thought I did this before. Yeah, window capture. That's what I need to do. Here, let me make this visible. Right? The window capture. Here we go. All right, is everybody still here? You guys still hanging out? Or did you leave me? 5. All right, we got 5 people. Let's do this. All right, so hopefully you'll be able to hear this. All right, so this is me in my truck. I'm going to explain some things to you guys, man. Be pretty cool. So this is me inside my truck. Hopefully you guys can see this. You should be able to. Let me know if you can't. I can see the chat. All right, so I'm inside my truck. My truck had a camera inside of it. Did it stop? Did it pause? What's going on? Why is it I don't know if you guys can hear it because I can't hear the stream. Hold on. Yeah, so they're shooting a recoilless rifle at me. Okay, thanks, Mac. Ooh, there is some music to this. Hopefully I don't get hit for that. So, I'm driving this truck. I'm by myself. And I didn't actually say that over the radio, by the way. I was saying that to myself. You talk to yourself a lot in this thing. I'm going to back this up a hair and show you guys something. So I'm driving this truck by myself. I'm in the front. We did have some dismounts off to the side, and they're walking parallel to me, but in front of me. And they would be taking fire. They actually were taking fire at this time. They got into a little bit of a firefight. If you watch right up here in the top left corner, you'll see that recoilless rifle round actually pass by the screen. It only moves like 180 meters per second or something like that. So it's not that fast. It's actually a slow moving. And so you guys know, a recoilless rifle round. All right, so think of an RPG, but RPGs have a rocket motor that propels it. Okay, recoilless rifle round is propelled like a mortar. It has charges that, if you ever seen a mortar that hasn't been fired, it'll have like these two, well, they put charges on it. It's like these two things that go around the tail fin, or two, it depends on how far you're going to shoot it, how many charges you put on it. And then you put the mortar into the tube with the charges on it. Anyway, it's similar to that, except for a recoilless rifle round, or they're big. They're like 85 millimeters in circumference, which is much bigger than most RPGs. And also, they can be used as direct fire, shot at something, or indirect fire, shot like a mortar. With that being said, they are the same concept as an RPG. It's most of them are high explosive anti-tank, meaning that you have like it's designed to penetrate armor. Okay, I'm not going to get into the details of that. We're not going to talk about the Monroe effect or nothing like that. But so they're shooting this thing at me that could completely destroy my truck. But up here in the top left, you'll see it come by. Yep, that was it. My buddy behind me said 400 meters, 12 o'clock, because he saw this little smoke cloud that was up here. So right now I'm like debating, because my job is, hey, you're supposed to drive 3 miles an hour, find the bombs, right? So I'm debating on what I need to do. Should I stop? Should I turn right? Should I keep going? Here, let me back it up just a hair again. So they're firing another round, and if you look really closely, you can see a little puff of smoke that'll come up right here, and that's the second round being fired. I see this happen when I'm driving the truck. I see it. It's right there. And so I know the round's coming. Boom. Right next to me. Oh, man. I probably lost everybody, huh? Right next to me. You're not really supposed to cuss over the radio, but I was excited. So Digger's the truck that digs up the bombs. That was his radio call sign. And he was the first truck that had a gun on it in the convoy, okay? The first two trucks are trucks like mine, me and another guy, and we look for bombs. So I come through this threshold with no protection, basically, which is just the way you got to do things. If you put a gun truck up there, the gun truck could hit an IED, because a lot of the IEDs we faced in the area we were in were victim operated, meaning that you hit like a pressure plate and then it goes off. So you hear their 50 cal, doom, 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 doom. That's the front of my truck. That's what my truck looks like. So I went behind this wall and cried for like 15 minutes because I was like freaking out. But anyway, it destroyed some of my truck, so I wasn't able to use my truck for the rest of that mission. This was the first IED I ever found. It was in Ghazni province. First IED I ever found. That's a homemade explosive, a 20-liter jug filled with homemade explosives. This is the Buffalo. This is the truck that digs up bombs. So he's digging up another 20-liter jug right here, and then also here's a pressure plate right here. So I found the bomb with my truck. I clear an area where he can come up and he can safely dig, and then he digs and puts it off to the side. We blow it up. Hurt Locker? Yeah, it's Hurt Locker's EOD. So we actually we had EOD in our convoy. I think most of our deployment, it was Air Force EOD, but So they were with us. So when we found bombs, they would actually just here's our convoy right here. Here's me. After we found that bomb was right next to this tree. Here's me. Here's Husky 2, Buffalo. Here's EOD. So EOD, they came up here, parked. They drove their robot down there, put a charge on that, a counter charge, counter explosive on that charge, and then they drive the robot back, and then they blow it up. So this is being filmed from a UAV that our guys had. These are all our trucks right here. This is our last truck right here. All these trucks behind this were infantry. So we were taking infantry where they were going. So here I am. I was 22, 21, or 22. I don't remember. Maybe 23. On E4, just kind of a nobody, I guess, but in the full, grand scheme of things. But I'm driving down the road 3 miles an hour looking for bombs, and I'm responsible for all these trucks and all the people in them to make sure that they get where they're going. Look at these trucks. There's the explosion. They set it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 in addition to our 4. So there was 9 in our patrol, and in their patrol there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I think there might have been one more in the back. Nope, it was just 9. So 9 in each, so 18 trucks. 17, not counting me. So anyway, stay tuned. If you're watching this, stick in it because you're about to see me get blown up. Stick to it anyway. All right, so here's the Husky. That's me. This is my truck, big sexy. A lot of the trucks in Afghanistan at this time had what we call RPG armor or Slat armor on them. There's different types of RPG armor, but there's newer versions. But the armor we used at that time was basically like 1/4-inch aluminum tubing, and you had like tines, and then you had the 1/4-inch aluminum tubing, and it's spaced about this far apart. Basically what that is for like an RPG or something like that gets shot at your truck. An RPG is designed so that when the front end hits an object, it sets off a charge behind a copper cone. That copper cone, then that little charge is very little explosives, but it blows up. That copper cone turns into a hot molten rod, and the standoff between the front of that RPG that looks like a football and the copper cone is the proper amount of standoff for that copper to get hot and melt through the armor. So with RPG armor, what it does is increase the standoff between when the RPG goes off and when it hits the vehicle. So hypothetically, let's say 6 inches is the proper, distance for the proper amount of heat that you need to melt armor. When you add another 6 inches of space, then that copper starts to cool down and slow down, and hopefully not penetrate the armor. That's how most RPG armor works. However, my truck didn't have it. I was one of the very few trucks in Afghanistan at that time that didn't have it because it was like a mandate that we were supposed to have it. But the people before me had blown up my truck so many times that they decided, hey, we're not going to put RPG armor in this truck because it's probably going to get blown up again. And whatever. But anyway, here's me taking a ride on IED. This was March 31st, 2011, I think. I don't know why I'm playing this on my live stream, but this is the same blast. This is my truck right here. So the vehicle behind me had a camera in it too. We both had cameras. So I got this film from first person and third person, if you want to put it in video game perspective. Anyway. I'm good, as I said over the radio, but yeah, it didn't, nothing crazy. This thing has a V-shaped hole. Very, it's designed to be blown up, literally. These trucks were designed in, they're actually designed in South Africa. in the late 80s, early 90s. They were designed for anti-tank operations in South Africa, and then the U.S. These are my guys. I pop up, looking around, making sure I don't need to defend myself, basically. And then these are our dismounts coming back to see what's up and help me out. Um, but yeah, the U.S. military, Army, and Marines ended up buying some of these vehicles from the company that made them, and they used them in Bosnia, I believe, first. Very few though. And then in Iraq, whenever they started facing IED threats, they were like, "Hey, let's pull out those old trucks that are designed to be blown up," type thing. I don't know what they really said, but hey, they got them out and started using them, and then of course we used them in Afghanistan too. But anyway, yeah, kind of went hard on that one, but that's a story, right? That's a good story. Oh, but yeah, I threw the link in the chat. If you want to go watch the whole video, it's like 8 minutes long. It's just basically a bunch of explosions going off. It's not interesting to me anymore. I don't like that part, but and also too, it has music on it that I shouldn't be playing on the stream anyway. But yeah, that was before DMDC. People cared about that when I uploaded the video. I guess I could remove the music from it. But anyway, I actually kind of like, if you haven't noticed, I kind of like talking about that stuff and sharing my experience. So yeah, appreciate you guys hanging out and listening to it.